So now we are going to do trinomials just like in the maze that you did. But if you have a number in front of the x squared, there's a little bit of a different process. Okay, so here are your steps. And I'm going to like write a step and then we'll practice it in a problem. And I'll write the next step and we'll practice it in a problem. So what you're going to do is multiply the first and last terms. So multiply the first and last terms. And that's going to be your top number in your X box. So multiply the first number and the last number, and that goes on the top of the X. And again, this is just for if there's a number that's a coefficient with the X squared. Did you notice that all the ones on the maze that you just did were just X squared and nothing else? Yes. So these ones are going to have a number in front of that. Okay. All right, so look at number 1. Do you see how there's a number in front of the x squared? It's like the first thing you have to notice. So draw your x off to the side, and you're going to multiply the first and the last number. So that's 2 times 3. 6 goes on the top. Okay, the middle number still goes on the bottom, so that's 5. And then your next step is solve the x box. Like just do that like we've been doing all along. Okay, so you multiply the first and the last number, that goes on the top, middle number still goes on the bottom, and then you just solve it as normal. So what 2 numbers in here are going to multiply to be 6 but add up to be 5? All right, 3 and 2. Good job. Perfect. All right, then you are going to divide by the first term and reduce. If you have trouble reducing fractions, calculator will do it for you. Let me put my Desmos and I'll show you when I get there. Okay. So you're going to divide by the first term and reduce. I'm going to take both of these and divide by 2. Do you see how that's my first number? All right. So watch. I'm going to take 3 and divide it by 2. Does that reduce at all? No. So that one's done already. It doesn't simplify any further. And then I'm going to take 2 and divide by 2, and that does reduce. Hold on, let me end pass. So hold on 1 second. When Cameron comes back, what is going on here? Come on, I'm messing up my recording. All right, somebody did say, sorry, I had to end that pass. So 2 divided by 2 gives you 1. Now you want to write 1 over 1. I know that seems silly, but I'm going to explain your last step here with how you write your answer. Because what you should get for your answer are these 2 parentheses. And just add this onto your directions. You're going to start with the denominator. Start with your denominator. I know this seems like a weird process, but once you get good at these, you'll start just churning them out. That's why I'm going to do a bunch of them. It's a drill and practice kind of thing. So start with the denominator. So look at the 2 fractions I circled. Which number is the denominator on this? Good. It's going to be 2x plus 3. Do you see how I did that? I took the 2 and the 3. You start with the denominator. Good. Well, and then close. This last one, it's weird because they're both 1. It's 1x plus 1. Yeah, it's weird when it both comes out to be 1, but that's your final answer. If you were like, hey, I didn't quite get that, we're going to do a few more. All right, let's try it again. And the first thing that you want to notice is, do you see how there's a number in front of the x squared? It's a more complicated problem, right? So draw your x box, and this was the one step that you kind of missed here. I'm going to explain it right now. You multiply the first and the last number. So it would be 12 times 2, which is 24. Good job. That's kind of the only difference with your X box. You multiply those together. Negative 11 goes on the bottom, and then you just solve it like we've been doing all along. So what are some numbers that multiply together to be 24? What have you got? 6 and 4 is an option. That doesn't work. I heard somebody say it back there, though. 3 and 8. 12 and 2 is also an option, though. I love that you guys are giving me all of them. That is your number set. So you're doing exactly what I want you to do. That's perfect. You kind of want to think of all the options and then pick the one that works. Now, good. They're both negative. Perfect. Now you're going to take both of them and divide by the first number. Now these ones reduce pretty simple. I'll show you this in the calculator. If you struggle to reduce fractions, I'll show you. The calculator will do it. You're going to take -3 and divide by 12. Now, if you know how that reduces, perfect. Go ahead and do it. Everybody else, look up here. I'm going to show you how to do it in the calculator. Oops, that's out of the calculator. So watch. You just type it, -3 divided by 12. Click right here. Boom, -1/4. So -1/4 is that one. And then I'm going to take my -8 and divide it by 12. And again, if you know how that reduces, perfect, do it. I'm going to just type it in the calculator so you can see -8 divided by 12, -2/3. Do you see that? Type it in. And then when you go to write your answer, start with the denominator. So good, this one's going to be 4x minus 1. Nice. Bless you. And then the other one, 3x minus 2. And then that's your answer. See, I told you would get the hang of it. Let's do 2 more and then I'll give you a break. Everyone is listening to me. This is fantastic. Keep it up. Okay. So let's try another one. Draw your X box off to the side. You're going to multiply the first and last number. So 4 times 5 is 20. And 12 goes on the bottom. It's nice because they're all positive. It's always nice when everything's positive. Good, 2 and 10. Nice job. What's another option that multiplies to be 20 though? Like what's another choice? 5 and 4, that one just didn't work. 5 plus 4 isn't 12, all right? You're going to take your 2 and your 10 and you're going to divide them by 4. Good job. 2/4. Does anyone know how that one reduces? That's 1/2. Nice job. You guys are building your number sense because you're actually listening to me and it's going well. Then you're going to take 10 and divide it by 4. Now, if you want to use your calculator, that's fine. I'll show you. I'm going to just type it in. 10 divided by 4, 5/2. So even if you know it, it's not a bad idea on a quiz or test to type it in anyway. All right, and then draw your 2 parentheses and write out your answer while I make pass. Okay, real quick. I thought you were asking for the bathroom.
Oh, I also did, but
okay, go ahead. What's your question?
Why don't we just write the whole number in front for the fraction that could be whole? Like 5 and 2, why don't we just write the whole number?
Oh, like this would be 1? You need it to be a fraction because you need like 2 terms there. It's 1x plus 1. Like you need both numbers. Does that answer what you're? I'm not sure if I really understood the question, but yeah, you need both numbers. You're good. All right. So what'd you guys put for your final answer here? 2x plus 1. Good. 2x plus 5. Perfect. Let's try one more here. Please be quiet. If you are talking, you're not listening. Oh, wait. No, you start with the denominator. 2x plus 1 and 2x plus 5. Everybody in the back, all my quiet people in the back, are you all good? All right. So let's try one more. Multiply the first and last number. So 4 times 6 is 24. Good job. -11 goes in the middle. Yeah, isn't that the one that's right up here? Now it's going to come out different because we have a different number out front, but it will be -3 and -8. And I love that you guys were like, hey, wait, didn't we do this? That saves you some work. Now, what are you going to divide them both by? 4, your first term. So you have -3/4. That's not going to reduce, so that one's just done. -8/4. Yeah, so it's -2/1. It's always tricky when there's a 1 in there. Nice job. But you want to leave the 1 in there so that you know what to put in your parentheses. So the first one, start with the denominator. It's going to be 4x minus 3. And this is 1x minus 2. Good job. So go ahead and flip over. Now, sometimes there is a greatest common factor that you have to take out first. So this is going to be exactly what we just did on the other side of the paper with one extra step. Okay. So when you look at these three, 8, 52, 28, you need to come up with a number that goes into all of them. Look up here and I'll remind you how to type it in the calculator. Are you all good? DCF and then the numbers. So it's 8, 52, 28. Get it together. All right, do you see how it's 4?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So what you're going to do is 4, put a parenthesis, and you're going to divide them all by 4. We are going to divide them all by 4. You are undistributing a 4. So what is 8 divided by 4? So that's 2x squared minus, all right, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that 52 divided by 4 is 13. You could type that in the calculator, but I'm just trying to move things along. And then minus, and then what is 28 divided by 4? Good. That's going to be 7. Basically, and that was a really good question. Did you all hear her? How do you know if there's a GCF? Basically, if it seems like if all the numbers are too big to deal with, there's probably something that goes into all of them. But here's the other thing that you can do. You can just always test it. For example, can y'all look back here? Look at number 4. Say I wasn't sure if there was a GCF. You can just type, oh, I wasn't on the calculator again, GCF and then the numbers. So what was it in number 4? 4, 11, 6. See how all it says is 1? Means there isn't one. Okay, so you can just always test it and see if it works. Does that make sense? Just always look for a GCF first, just in case if there is one. Okay, so back to number 5 here. Now here's what I want you to do if there was a GCF. Bring down that 4. The 4 is just there. Remember we've talked about numbers that are just there? All right, draw your 2 sets of parentheses. And now we are going to do this problem exactly like we did on the other side of the paper. I'm covering this up to make sure we look at this one. In fact, you can scribble it out if you want. We don't need that anymore. So draw your X off to the side. You're going to multiply the first and last number. Do you see the ones I'm pointing at? So it's 2 times -7. Good. -14. Nice job. -13 goes on the bottom. Can you guys please tone it down? We did such a good job on the other side. We need to like reel it back in. I shouldn't hear singing or humming or whistling or talking. So you need to come up with numbers that multiply to be 14. Don't worry that it's negative. We'll deal with that later. Just what are some numbers? So 7 and 2. 7 and 2 will not add up to be 13 though. So it is 14. Yes, and you even got the negative. I'm going to get everybody else there though. 14 and 1. Now, which one gets the negative? 14. Good. Perfect. Now you're going to take both of those and divide by the first number. Do you see the first number here? I'm circling it. 2. That's why I said scribble this out, because the common mistake is people will use the 8. We're looking at this step now. So it's -14 divided by 2. That's going to reduce to -7/1. And then what's the other fraction going to be? Good. 1 divided by 2. And that doesn't reduce. Now, when you write your answer, start with the denominator. So this is going to be 1x. Good. -7. And then this one's going to be perfect. 2x plus 1. We're just going to try that a couple more times. If you were like, hey, I didn't quite get that, that's why we're going to do a couple more. All right, look at this. What number can you divide out of all 3 of those? That one's a little bit more obvious because it's 5. So you're going to divide them all by 5. You are undistributing a 5. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. Good. 3x squared plus 2x. Good. You guys even got the 1. Maybe scribble this out then, because you're not going to use it anymore. The 5 is just there. So just kind of set it up blank. And now we're going to do exactly what we did on the other side of the paper. So draw an X. You're going to multiply the first and the last number. It's the ones I'm pointing at. -3. Good job. And then 2 goes on the bottom. Now, what numbers multiply to be 3? You don't have an awful lot of choices there. Get 3 and 1. Wait, question. Go ahead.
Oh, never mind.
Okay.
-1.
Good. Why is the 1 negative? Nice job. 3 minus 1 is 2. Perfect. See, now we're back together. I like it. Okay. So you're going to take both of those numbers and divide by 3. It's the first term right there. So 3 divided by 3 is, yeah, and you want to write 1 over 1. It's weird when they both turn out to be 1. All right, and then the other one is going to be negative 1 over 3. I kind of ran out of space because of the hole in the paper, but that doesn't reduce. And so what are we going to write in our parenthesis when they both come out to be 1? Yeah, it's 1x plus 1. And then the other one, good job, 3x minus 1. You can write them the other way around. Doesn't matter. I'm going to try 2 more. Good job, guys. We reeled it back in. Good. Let's try 2 more here. All right. What do all of these divide by? Close. 2. Good. I knew that was going to happen. Like that just because instinctually you're like 6. No, but it's 2. So divide them all by 2. That would leave you with 8x squared. Good. Minus 10 divided by 2. 5x. Minus 3. Good job. Scribble that out because you want to look at the new version of it. What in the world are you doing? The 2 is just there. Draw your 2 parentheses, and then we're going to do the X box. Good. How'd she get negative 24? You're ahead of me because that's correct. 8 times negative 3. Good job. And then negative 5 goes in the bottom. So I need numbers that multiply to be 24. Don't worry about the negative. We'll figure it out later. 3 and 8. Good job. You're getting faster because you're building your number sense. All right. Now to get a negative 5, which one gets the negative? Good. 3 minus 8 is negative 5. Now you're going to take both of those and divide them by 8. The 2 is just there. You're going to divide them by 8. I'm going to write this down. So you're going to have 3 divided by 8. Does that reduce? No. And then you're going to have negative 8 divided by 8. Good. You guys got it. Nice job. Now start with the denominator. So in your first parenthesis, 8x plus 3. And then the other one, good. And if you wrote them the other way around, that's perfectly fine. It means it's the exact same thing. All right, we'll try one more. Make sure it's cemented in there. Go ahead. Do not stop listening when I answer a question. It could benefit you too. Go ahead.
Number, like the fraction,
Yeah.
does the negative have to be at the top?
Yes, the negative goes on the numerator. Okay. All right, one more. 30, 33, and 18. I can type it in the calculator. Oh, but I felt like that was going to happen. Somebody just shouted it out. But you could type GCF and then type those numbers. But they all divide by 3. So that will leave you with 10x squared. Good. 30 divided by 3 is 10. Plus 11x. Good job. Minus 6. Nice job. Scribble this out. I don't want you to look back at that and have it confuse you. The 3 is just there. Draw your 2 parentheses. If you set it up blank, that'll help you not get confused later. All right, in your X box, you're going to multiply the first and last number. Negative 60, good job. And then 11. This one is a little tougher, so I'm going to pull up the calculator. Can you all look? Because I doubt you're going to be able to just shout this one out. I'm going to type 60 divided by x. Look up here. 60 divided by x, and then how do I get the table? Here, table. Good job. Now you're looking for a pair that adds or subtracts to be 11. Good, 15 and 4. Oh, good job. 15 and 4, nice. Now which one needs to be negative? 4. Good, 15 minus 4 is, gosh, you guys are getting this. This is so awesome. All right, then you're going to take them both and divide them by 10. Oh, good job, guys. All right, so 15 over 10. That'll reduce to really close. No, you're dividing them by 5. 3 over 2. There, we got there. All right, and then negative 4 over 10 would be Negative 2/5. Now you guys talked through that because you're brilliant, but you could type it in the calculator and it'll reduce it for you. Start with your denominators. So in your first parenthesis, 2x plus 3.